Morally speaking, your first use of the death note is always a freebie, since there's no way any reasonable person would expect it to work. That's an interesting point. So nowadays, if you go to basically any big convention, there's going to be at least one person with a fake death note trying to get people to sign it. That person's innocent. That's a joke. If they get hit with it, that they're as much a victim as the person who dies, honestly. However, in the original show and the book for it, Light did read the instructions and knew what it was supposed to do. I'd say it counts more as manslaughter than murder, but he's definitely responsible at that point. The book has clear instructions, and yeah, nowadays it's such a pop culture thing that, yeah, no way you would ever believe it. But canonically, in canon, yeah, no, you should at least have caution while using it. It's kind of like finding a room full of horror movie, witchcraft, satanic stuff, and then deciding, oh, this is a nice place to hang out. Like, no, at a certain point, you should have expected something to go wrong. My controversial opinion is that I don't think Zuko was confused by, my first girlfriend turned into the moon. He was there during the Siege of the North. He infiltrated the Spirit Oasis. He has an uncle who studies spirits in the spirit world. Not written here, but also Iroh does not shut up to Zuko about the spirit world. He watched the sky go dark and then the moon suddenly reappear like everyone else in the entire world did. And most importantly, he watched Zhao get eaten by the giant Godzilla fish spirit. His entire life since he saw the beam of bluish white light in the North Pole has been, this day has already been so goddamn weird. The only really new information was that was Sokka's girlfriend. It's true, yeah, that's the only thing he had no way of knowing up until that point. And I refuse to believe that Iroh didn't film in on what the heck that giant sky magic was after a while. Partway through their travels, Zuko definitely asked, or Iroh just answered anyway, because that's who these two are. It's nice talking to non-binary trans people about identity, because I can just be like, non-gender left math. The whole squabbled not thoughtfully like philosophers at the Agora. In my personal experience, non-binary are the most accepting of literally everything because non-binary tends to just break all the rules already. They've, a lot at least, accept basically anything because yeah, screw it, gender's fake anyway. You present however the heck you want to. Obviously, red pill and related movements are mostly full of crap, but I do think it's useful to break down exactly where they go off the rails. For instance, the idea of the sexual marketplace. The idea that this large number of repeated consensual interactions coverage to something like a marketplace is, in my opinion, not unreasonable. But then they start applying ideas that are either only true in idealized, perfectly competitive markets, or not true of any market at all. Thinking for just 2 seconds should reveal that the actual sexual marketplace is full of asymmetric information, high transactional costs, and non-fungible products, but the most egregious oversight of this line of thinking is the implicit assumption that there is a low market concentration and no market power, something that is immediately recognizable as false. When we realize that last year, a solid 42% of US domestic sucking and screwing was provided by your mom. When people complain about the Folgers commercial, they're usually pointing out the weird incest vibes, but I don't think we give enough hate to the fact that this man came home from generic Africa, his sister put on a pot of Folgers, and he swooped over it saying, "Oh, real coffee. You were in Africa, my guy. Africa has several countries that are known as having the best coffee in the world. Saying you didn't have any real coffee in Africa is like saying you didn't have any black people in Africa. What the frick is wrong with these people?" So, something I think this person missed is that's the point. At least I hope it was, because I know there's a peanut butter one that does it with Italy as well, where the whole bit is, yeah, these people are the experts of it because of that. And okay, maybe it's unreasonable to treat them like they are, but we still do. And because they're experts, them thinking this is the best says a lot about how good the product is. Also, which one of Folger's commercials has weird incest vibes? My mom loves to lie, and she always swears she was never homophobic or anything to me as a child. I even have a gay work friend. But a really funny memory resurfaced recently where I asked if I could use my birthday money to buy a rainbow flag when I was 7? Because I loved rainbows. And she said no, and that means something evil and God will hate you. So what did I do? But ask my grandmom for a rainbow sweater for Christmas and proceed to only wear that sweater for 3 years when it got cold because I didn't like the idea that God hated colors and I wanted to challenge him. Skippity Toilet is ruining Gen Alpha. Do none of you people remember Astif? I remember Astif. Astif movie's actually still going, it's just been really slow with releases. The kids are gonna be fine. They just happen to be incredibly annoying like every kid before them. What does the fox say? I like trains. Leroy Jenkins! Etc. We were all kids once. They are carrying on a tried and true God-given tradition of baffling and infuriating adults. Power to the children. I can't imagine going on r/Tumblr. Why don't you just go on Tumblr? Actually, now I realize it's for people who just want to see funny posts and don't want to have to make an actual account on a new social media site to find the right people to follow. Every social media farms Tumblr. I'm just working the mines. Quittage is changing its name to Quadball to cut ties with J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling did so much damage to her reputation that former fans are willing to call themselves Quadballers. Quittage changes its name to distance itself from J.K. Rowling. Major League Quadball said changing the name opens unprecedented opportunities for growth, exposure, and partnerships, and locals were looking to make the most of it. My face when she sucks so much, the sport she invented has a dead name now. More. Also in the tags, you gotta also understand, you really gotta understand how frickin' funny Quadball is in the context of J.K. Rowling and her BS. Quadball is the only sport in the entire world that is 100% gender blind in all aspects and is played at all levels from social to competitive. Like lots of other sports have handicaps or differing rules for male and female players like minimum gender requirements, etc. Or be co-ed at lower levels but higher level competitions start to have new rules. So it's actually been used in multiple case studies on the necessity of gender divisions, especially in team sports. It's an absolute goldmine of data that flies completely in the face of our own attitudes. It's so good. Imagine being such a sucker that your own invented sport becomes your antithesis, cuts ties with you, and changes their name just like all trans people with transphobic parents. Does that mean Quittage is trans? I'm sorry, I guess Quadball is trans now. My apologies. I didn't mean to deadname, but that's kind of hilarious. Fascinating. Apparently, adding a dollop of honey to canned tuna that you're eating straight out of the can makes it taste better. Could add some pepper, though. I've never considered honey on tuna before. I'll have to try that experiment. Throw in some freshly ground black pepper, too. That also worked. This reminds me, I just saw a TikTok where someone was eating raw ground beef with the caption said, "Raw beef with honey is really good." Someone turned a bear into a human person and the first thing that nobody's did was download TikTok. Here's a quick PSA, raw beef is not safe to eat, raw tuna is. At least from the can, they already take care of what actually makes it unsafe, so that's fine. Raw beef does not have that benefit. Do not eat raw beef, you might get very sick. I wish there was a show like My Cat from Heck, but with autistic people. My kid won't stop throwing tantrums. Well, A, those are meltdowns, not tantrums. B, they have no control over this. And C, stop touching them without their consent, forcing them into overwhelming situations. I just want my kid to say, "I love you." They have been telling you that they love you by info dumping to you and spending time in the same room as you. You just refuse to listen. They behave so weird. I want them to stop. Have you ever talked to an autistic adult to learn what autistic body language looks like? Well, stop expecting them to act neurotypical. They are not. Their behavior actually makes absolute sense for an autistic person. Feel free to add more examples. Me? How old were you? American. Oh, I was a freshman. Me? A European. I still have no idea how old you were. I'm from the UK. I'm in 6th form. Me? How many generations do you have left? I don't know why anyone answers with, oh yeah, I was in this grade. Like, no, answer with your actual number. There is no good reason to answer that way. Unless you're saying not how old I am, but how used to this school I was, in which case, fair enough. This current trend of people being very openly hostile towards polyamory has made me realize a few things, and amongst these things is that apparently, to many people, the bad thing about someone cheating in a relationship is simply that they are having sexual/romantic relations with multiple people at the same time. Like, that's what the issue is for many of them. That's what's morally wrong about it, not the fact that they're going behind their partner's back to break a serious established boundary and their trust, which is crazy. For what it's worth, I am in a fairly open poly relationship myself, and it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. It's just that if it's with someone that we know, I would like to at least know what's going on beforehand, you know? Like, information and communication are key to this, and the more people you involve in this relationship, the more communication needs to happen. Which is true for friendships as well, by the way. This isn't just romantic or sexual, it's every kind of relationship. The more people involved means more communication. I also get that not everyone is okay with poly. Some people full on are not okay with that. They can't accept being in a romantic or sexual relationship with someone who's doing that with someone else. And that's a boundary you are allowed to have. By all means, before starting a relationship, if you are polyamorous, you should already be telling people that. Or at the very least, if you are in a relationship already and polyamorous, you should at least be filling them in on that before it gets anywhere. Who is the Toronto baseball warlock? That's a good question. What the heck spell are they casting? Sneaky devil. Alright, who's this shatty monster over here? Looks like they're edited in. What the heck is that? So, like many people here, I sometimes like fantasizing about vampires. And I had this question in my mind for some time now. Hypothetically, if I had a vampire partner and they fed on me weekly, how much blood could they safely drink from me? What about if it was daily or every other day? Actually, we have a very simple answer for this. Take whatever your health stuff is, and you can find online charts that tell you exactly how much blood it's safe for you to donate and how often you can do it. It's actually very easy to find an answer for this for any character you're writing for, by the way. Those answers exist, use them. But also, I'm a firm believer that the whole romanticized vampire, oh, I'll feed off you, my love, is BS. Honestly, if they really loved you, they'll find anything else to drink from. And assuming it's a world where vampires aren't demonized, they'll probably have an internal blood bank system they could use, or feed off animals, depending on the world building. If they have to feed off like the magic of humanity, it's a different story. But a lot of vampires just feed off blood, and hunting is a good option for that. Is it weird how much I despise the whole idea of your vampiric lover constantly feeding on you? Like, I get, oh yeah, they have this monstrous instinct to feed on you. That works, but the idea of they're healthily feeding off you every once in a while. Either they need very little blood because of the magic system in that world, or they are actively draining away their loved one just because they can and are refusing to look for another source. Which I would argue is the most selfish thing possible. Depending on the story, that can also work, but still. No, it is not romantic for them to want to drain from you. Okay, it's a little bit romantic and a little bit sexy, but it's very, very messed up. They shouldn't be doing that. That's morally gray type of behavior. That is not very good boy behavior, you know what I'm saying? And I say boy because it's always a boy. For some reason, every time it's a girl vampire love interest, they are trying to kill you and have no restraint. I don't know why that's a thing. I have yet to find a story where the girl vampire is actually nice. It's always the guy one. I would love to know why to that, actually. I'm open to theories for it. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places. We've gotten some very good book suggestions, actually, in the comments for some of these as well. What's it called? Stealing from Witches? Or, sorry, Stealing from Wizards. 3-part book series. Yeah, I'm going on a tangent. Deal with it. There's a running timer if you want to skip it. 3-part right now. The 4th one is, as I record this, on the way, but by the time it's done, it'll already be out. Probably not on YouTube, though. YouTube has uploaded the other 3 in podcast form, and while I find it slightly annoying that I have to listen to the dingling chapter bit for every single chapter, putting out a novel version of this for free is really nice of the author. And it's a really good story. It reminds me a lot of Harry Potter, but, you know, actually very respectful towards neurodivergent people. I'm pretty sure all the main cast is at least neurodivergent. There's one guy who I thought was autistic. Turns out he's a changeling. There's a weird bond between changeling and autistic people, by the way, so that makes sense. One person is paralyzed, but still makes it work. Our main character has a very, very strong theme of trauma going throughout. Like, it's very interesting, and I'm really into it. I've just finished the 2nd book. I'm about to listen to the 3rd book during my next shift. It'll be great. That's where I'm at right now. 4th book I know is called Arson, which is very, very bad because the 1st one was pickpocketing, where he pickpocketed and got framed for pickpocketing. 2nd was burglary. He did not burgle, but he got framed for burglary. I don't know what the 3rd one's called, actually, off the top of my head. 4th one being called Arson is very alarming because someone's going to commit arson. He's going to be blamed for it if the title theming has anything to do with it, and that's alarming to me. It's a good book series. Listen to it.